Hi there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing a recipe for a gluten-free lemon drizzle cake with you. This is a recipe that I learned about when I worked at Juvela gluten-free food company, and it's such a nice cake. It's just delicious and it smells amazing when it's cooking as well, all buttery and lemony, and it's just lovely. So I'm going to drop the camera down and just share with you how I go about making it. It's nice and simple, so let me just drop it down for you now. Okay, so in here I'm just going to melt some butter and sugar. Okay, so I've cubed the butter already because it just means that it's going to melt that little bit easier. Just let me straighten that camera up, it's a little bit wonky, isn't it? Okay, still not great. Okay, that's better. And then I'm going to add some caster sugar in there as well. And the full recipe for this is over on my blog. I've got a step-by-step recipe on there, and I will put a link in the description below that'll take you straight back over to that recipe. So I'm going to pop this on the oven now, on the stove, sorry, now, and just melt this down a little bit. I'll be back with you in a moment. Okay, so I'm back now. I've just melted the butter down. If you just do it nice and slowly, and then it just ensures that the butter doesn't melt, doesn't burn, and also the sugar doesn't catch either. You can also do this in a microwave as well, but that's the sort of consistency that you're looking for. And obviously that's still warm now, so if we just set that to one side, that can be cooling now when you get on with the next bit. So in the bowl there, I've got some gluten-free self-raising flour. I've used today the ASDA gluten-free self-raising flour, and what I like about the shop bought self-raising flours, I also use Sainsbury's as well, and that's a really good one, and I get fabulous results with that. A lot of the time they tend to have a little bit of xanthan gum in, and when you're making a sponge cake, that is just the right amount that you need. If you can't get hold of self-raising, gluten-free self-raising flour, you can use a plain flour instead. And then what you can do if you use a sponge cake, you can add a teaspoon of gluten-free baking powder in there, and then if you add half a teaspoon of xanthan gum to the plain flour as well, that will then give you the similar sort of effect to a self-raising flour. But if you can get the self-raising, then that is the best one to get, the gluten-free self-raising. And as I say, I've used Juvela, I use Sainsbury's an awful lot. That's the one I like to have, but I'm just out of that at the moment. And then, as I say, I've been really happy with this ASDA one as well. So, okay, so say in the bowl I've got the self-raising flour. Full recipe will be over on my blog, and the link will be in the description below. And into the flour then, it's just going to grate the rind of, the zest of a unwaxed lemon. Better to get unwaxed because obviously it's just the pure lemon zest that you're getting in there. So it's just going to grate that in there now. As I say, if you melt your butter and your sugar first, that just means that can be getting to the, nice and cool and the right temperature to add it at a later date while you crack on with this as well. Okay, by the way, if you've not already got one of these in the kitchen, I highly recommend it. I know you can get like the branded microplane, but this is one that I don't know if I got this from ASDA or Sainsbury's, I'm not too sure, but it's a brilliant little gadget. It's great for like grating that bit of parmesan, it's great for doing garlic, grating your garlic in, your ginger, and lemons and oranges as well, obviously. So yeah, it's a super little thing, and it's dead easy to clean as well, which I'm anything for practical things in the kitchen and sort of gadgets that you'll use, and this is certainly one of those. And you've not got a lot of storage space for that either, have you? So that's good. Okay, so get it in. Try and not get too much of the white on there, because that's like the pit, and that will make it taste a little bit bitter. So you're just looking for the top bit of the lemon rind coming off there, so just the zest that we're after. Okay, so I think that's me about done with that. Okay, so there we go. And honestly, the difference that makes as well. So you're going to set that lemon to one side because I'm going to use that in a moment as well. Okay, so into that bowl then I'm going to add 2 large beaten eggs, and I like to use my eggs all the time at room temperature. I have them out in a bowl in the kitchen, and I've never had a problem with them. I know sometimes people worry about storing things at room temperature, but I really have never had a problem. Let's just add that in there then. Okay, and then I personally don't use an electric whisk for this, but if you want to do, that's absolutely fine. You might make the sponge that a little bit lighter, but again, for quickness and for, you know, less washing up and things like that, I just get a spoon on the job. Okay, so just make sure that the sugar and the butter is nicely blended in, and then just add that in there. You just get a sense with cakes, don't you, when you add certain ingredients, it's just going to be good. And this is just one of those cakes. It's also, I mean, obviously it's gorgeous with the cuppa, but it's also really nice if you slice it and do it with some fresh custard, or even Bird's custard is currently gluten-free, so you can even use that. So just give the whole mixture a really good beating together. It's quite nice doing it this way actually. It's sort of a bit more old-fashioned, isn't it, doing it just by hand with a nice big spoon. Okay. So you're looking to get a nice smooth batter like that. We're more or less there with that, and then just going to pour that into a prepared tin. I've got the oven preheating at the moment, which is good, so that's at 160. As I say, everything will be in the recipe when you just link over there. So I'm using one of those pre-liners again. I love these liners, but if you're looking for something to be really neat, then you can just line it yourself and you'll get more of a square edge. But I quite like the crinkle look on this when it's a lemon drizzle cake. Okay, so just so that you want that to stay where it is, just try and make sure that stays there. Sometimes I have a bit of paper falling in, so I'll just stop that part way there and pop it back up again. So just pour that in. I hope I'm showing that there okay for you. Yep, okay. And that is it. So I mean, how easy is that to make a cake? It's just so good, and honestly the results are great with this, they really are. Okay. I feel like I'm doing it a little bit awkwardly there, but I'm trying to do it so that I'm showing you it going in. Right, there we go. So that's it, all of them ready. And that needs just to go in. On my recipe I've got 30 to 40 minutes. I'm actually going to set my temperature today, sorry, not temperature, time for about 37 minutes, because I feel that's sort of about the right time, but we'll see how that goes. So I'll pop that in and then I'll be back with you in a moment. Okay, so whilst the cake's cooking, I'll just pop together the lemon drizzle that's going to go on top of the cake. Now it's good to have this all ready, because as soon as the cake comes out of the oven, you're going to prick the top of it and then pour this over, because you want it to absorb in while it's still hot from the oven. So if you have it all ready, then that's just great. I'm really relieved that this lemon's okay. It's actually one I ordered over Christmas, and it's been knocking about in the fruit bowl and it's still stayed absolutely fine, so we're all good to go with that. Okay, so just going to squeeze this in here. I got this lemon squeezer years ago from, I think I got it from IKEA, and it's another great gadget. So if you're looking for something like that, IKEA have really practical things. I think they're great for that. I mean, I'm not sort of visiting at the moment due to everything that's going on, but I'll be back in there to go and grab some essentials like serviettes and things like that, and their tea lights at a later date. Okay, so there we go. So just squeeze that in there. Now I like, because you get, sometimes don't you get like little tiny lemon pips in there. So just so I can get those out, I'm just going to sieve this. I've not got a very small sieve at the moment, so we're going on a big sieve. So we'll just sieve that into this jug, and already in the jug I've got the sugar, caster sugar weighed out ready, and that's what's going to be poured over the top with the lemon juice and the caster sugar. That's going to make your classic lemon drizzle. So just going to give that a little stir, and then that can just be set to one side, and it's all good to go when the cake comes out of the oven then. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like that. And then obviously when it comes out, so this is going to stand to one side. So when the cake comes out, give it another little stir just to make sure it's all incorporated. So that's it, and that's all good to go then. So I'll be back in a bit to show you pouring over the cake. Okay, so it's just come out the oven now. I'll just lean it back there so you can see. The 37 minutes for me, that seems to be perfect. I've just skewered it and that came out nice and clean, so there's no, you can tell that the cake's cooked through. I'm just gonna, it's really hot now, so I'm just gonna give it quite a few little jabs with this little skewer here. I know it makes it look a little bit sort of more messy on top, but then all it means is that when you pour the lemon juice and sugar over now, it's just going to go into these little holes and just soak through into the cake, and that just is, you know, that's the classic lemon drizzle that you're after. Okay, so we'll just pour that over like that. What always amazes me with this, no matter how much goes on there, how it does seep in. You sometimes get the little sugary bits around the edges, which is just lovely. Okay. And then what I like to sometimes do as well is just get a little teaspoon and sort of keep scooping it back over. And that just means that it keeps going back into the top of the cake. And it makes it a little bit more even with the drizzle, and it's going in those little holes as well. If you don't have a skewer, you can test the cake with a knife, just slip a knife in, and again you're looking for a clean knife to come out, and that means that the cake's done. And then if you don't have the skewer then to sort of make the little holes, then just use a fork and just make a few over the top of the cake. As I say, if you just do it gently, you're not going to sort of disrupt the cake too much there. Okay, and I'll just, there's a bit there that I want to just get that bit of lemon drizzle on. Okay, and that's it, that's all done. Now I'm going to leave this in the cake, in the tin now to cool completely. I'm tipping that lemon, I'm tipping the drizzle everywhere. And then I'll slice it and I will show you when it's all sliced. So the lemon drizzle cake's cooled now completely, and you can see all the lemon drizzle's all soaked into the cake, and you've got the little bits around the edges as well. People often like to have the end piece because it's got that extra bit of sugary crispiness. If you want, you can also pipe some glacé icing over the top if you want to make it fancy, but for me, I think it's got enough going on and enough flavour in there, and I like it as it is, but that's just me. So I'm just going to take out the tin now and cut it, just so you can see what it's like inside. I'm just hoping that I'm able to lift it out carefully here. Yeah, that's the beauty about, say, leaving it to go completely cold. So just slip it out there. And so that's why I like using these, the crinkly things, because it leaves that nice edge around the side, and it makes it look proper homemade as well. So I'll just cut a piece and I'll just show you. Okay, so chunky bit, people like the end bit, don't they, a lot? Okay, so there we go. So that's how it looks inside. Really nice and soft. So that's just going to be perfect with the cuppa. There you go. And then you can just see in there as well how lovely that is. So you can't beat that homemade gluten-free lemon drizzle cake. I hope you liked the video. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, and if you can, subscribe to my channel. Thanks, and I'll see you again soon.